Okay, so we'll start with the asteroids because that's the first thing when you're playing. If you know the order of how you set up a game, the first thing you do is you place the asteroids. So you got asteroids and you got debris clouds. If you don't know the rules on those, look them up. So depending on what you're playing, you want to choose. You get to choose 3 in tournaments. If you're just playing casual, then someone will have 6. That's fine. Now, when you're placing them, if you are flying something like this, where you have a large ship and a small ship, you're going to want something more of a kind of a openness in the center. So you'll have, when you're placing them, first you'll place one, pretty much about a range ruler or less, like in the 3 range on their side, and also one on your side. Just try not to get any in the center because you also want to create lanes, things that you can fly right through, and you can have maximum arc. Because if you have a 360 ship, a large ship with a 360, if you have a ship like Slave, then you kind of want to do where you're coming around the side and you're going to turn through and have them chase you. So you just want to keep that in mind when you're setting them up, that they're set up in a way that's going to help what kind of ships you're playing. And if you have a lot of little ships, and they don't mind a little cluster that you can use to ring around the rosy with them. If you have very maneuverable, lots of little ships, they can get in between here and it'll mess up their ships. So you want to put the asteroids in an advantage that helps your build. That's just kind of simple. And then obviously, if you're running dash, these don't affect him at all. So it's like they're not even there. So if you're playing with him, I would bring 3 of these. So there you have that. All right, next we got the setup. So how are you going to set up your ships? Well, obviously you go on number of pilot skill. So keep your pilot skill in mind. If you if you're going to want to use a certain strategy, obviously you're going to set up first. So a lot of people like to deploy facing to the side. Why exactly is so when you're starting off, you can just make little 1 maneuvers for as long as needed, even do turns. Keep yourself at the back until you see where they're going, and then you'll turn out. So another one, if you're playing swarms, you can have them in the corners here and here, and they can come out this way, and then they can break away at any time and surround. Now that's what you want to do with a swarm. You want to swarm a ship. So best way to do that is to keep them on the edges and come in. All right, opening moves. Like I said, you need to have already kind of planned out what you're going to do against another build. So if you're okay, you're gonna have to cut there. Start back again. Okay, so if you have depending on what your build is, what your overall strategy you want to do, your opening move should be, most of the time you should play it safe. Safe as in, you're just going to do a very small move in the beginning. Most likely have your ship to the side, just a small move. If they're facing forward, small move. If you're a large ship and you're at the edge, just a little move. Probably the shortest move that you can do with it. Or you want to trick them up, say they're playing, this is a very popular one, Decimator and Whisper. If they have one in one area and one over here, and the one that you are really going to focus on, you move away from. Make them think a little bit. Hey, he's going after Whisper. Okay, I need to move this way now. And then you immediately do a large move in the opposite direction and with your other ship. And now you've tricked them, and now all of a sudden you're going after the Decimator or whatever ship it is. It not really matter. That can be kind of an opening. That's just like the first like 3 moves are basically like your opening. So whatever moves you decide, you kind of want to have that planned out. First couple rounds, you need a definite plan. Like, this is what I'm going after, and you gotta make those priorities in the beginning. If you just make moves, that's when you get blown up. Okay, actions. Actions are probably one of the most underrated things. They're probably more important than anything because this is a dice game. Okay? I have a lot of players that, think that the dice hate you, and you're getting these bad rolls and all that happens. Everything in the game, basically, card-wise, upgrades, are trying to put the dice into your favor and put them against them. So, and the actions and the abilities are the only things that really do that. If you're just playing straight, just stats against stats, there's like way more luck involved. And, and then it just comes to just what ship is more maneuverable than the other ship. But when it comes to using the abilities and the actions right, that's probably one of the most important things. So focus is just your general one, and that's just going to help you. Target lock, even better. That's mostly just for attacking. And your barrel rolls are going to be primarily to get in and out of those arcs. So, say he's attacking you. Let's just say this is his firing arc, and you made a move, and you turned into him here, and up. You're still an arc, so you want to get an attack, barrel roll, get out of it, get into his, possibly get into range 1. When it's a close call, you definitely want to use it to get into range 1. So barrel rolls work really well. Even with when you have a squad here, just maybe not all of them get out, but just having a few are pushing them into range, and not being able to get shot back at is one of the most important things. Is to winning really is you're shooting at them and they can't shoot at you. I mean, if you can do that, then obviously turreted ships negate that fact. But most of them have very low evade, so most of the hits are going to go through anyway. So it's just a matter of concentrating your fire on them. Okay. And the evade, obviously, best defense. Overall, statistically speaking, it's more reliable than doing a focus. But if you have some kind of ability or something else, then obviously use that over that. And the boost, probably one of the best actions for large ships. They're just great. You can do these huge moves. You can get in and out of arcs, especially with large ships that have a hard time with that. You got squads here. They're coming at you. They're what, range 3 or something like that. At this point, and you're in this situation like this. This is awful. You're gonna get annihilated. I mean, it can be any type of swarm, any type of large ship. they're going to most likely move first. You always want to have, if you do have boost on a large ship or a ship, you want to make sure that you veteran instincts and you get this pilot skill as high as you can. That way you're able to boost after they move. You want to move after them so you know which way to boost exactly, because they might do some tricky maneuvers themselves, so you're not totally sure. When selecting your maneuver, you always want to think of not only your move, where you want to go, but what are they going to do? I mean, you don't know for sure, but what most likely. And I normally never take risks. Usually when you take a risk and you don't play it safe, you make a mistake and it can cost you the game. So wouldn't recommend that. So after they move in to kind of get range 1 on you, it's very easy to just 4 boost. And not only have you gotten out of all their firing arcs, but you have one in range 1 that you can focus on. And depending on how they move. Now, what if they kind of were guessing that you're going to do that, and they turned in more, widening their arc that way. And then so when you do that move, you can't do a boost to bump into them, and that's one of the reasons why you don't want that. In some instances, you'll have to boost that way, otherwise, because if they were too close, couldn't go this way, you'll be going that way. So if you declare the boost and then you can't do it, obviously you can do it the other way. So that's a great one on the large ships. And all the faster ships, I think, have them built in, like the Interceptor. Stress. Stress is becoming a big thing now. People realize that if you can keep stress on them, it limits your movement. So now you're forced to do a green move, or you can't take an action. And like I said, actions are more important than people realize. It's a huge thing. They have some stress builds now where you have a lot of upgrade cards that can add stress onto a ship. Those are great. Anytime you can add that to a ship or ships, it's great. It's just going to put that much pressure on the other ships. It's going to limit them, and it's going to give you more options and give them less options. That's always what you want to do. You want to break that gap. You want to get rid of that luck, and you want to put things in your favor and constantly keep the pressure on them. If they get too many stress on them, there's a lot of things that work with stress. Obviously, you look up all the cards and see what they do. The X-Wing Squadron Builder is great for that. So then you're forced to do that green move, and now your move is very predictable. Now, of course, you could say screw it and do a white move, but then now you have no action, and your dice economy has just gone down. Sometimes in the bad situation, you're forced to do a white move. If it's going to get you, if you can do a white move and it can get you out of being hit by multiple ships or range 1 by something strong, then you have to do it. But if not, you need to do the green, even if they know it's going to be. If you're up close, you just try to bump and just hope to not get hit too much. Because remember, it's all about not getting hit. All right. So stress now. Focus firing is something I always explain to newer players. And I notice it's like the difference between beginners and intermediates is the idea of focus firing. Say you're going against, this build's going against this one, okay? So you got, or now probably just be 3 TIE fighters and a decimator. In the beginning, when you set up, you have to decide, hey, who am I going to go after? Who am I going to attack? You look at the points, make a decision, and from those, how many rounds it takes, you got to stay on that ship, okay? a TIE fighter with only one hull on it is still as dangerous as one with all of its hull on it. You gotta finish it off. So whatever one you decide to go for, you know, are you gonna go after this swarm? Because most likely they're going to keep them somewhat at a distance. This one's going to try to get behind you, obviously, to not get focus fired. And these are just going to come right at you and just mess you up and try to block you, you know, run little circles around you. And they don't necessarily go down easy. They could be hitting you for a while. So, I mean, don't underestimate a little swarm of little cheap guys with high evade on them. They're, or, you know, if they're headhunters, they're going to hit a little harder. You know, if they're the M3A interceptors or whatever, any type of little swarm, if someone knows how to fly them in formation really wide, they're going to get a lot of hits on you. And so what you want to do is choose that target and just stay on it with both ships. And you keep shooting at it until it's destroyed. You don't let them run away from you. And now, obviously, the reverse of that, the good strategy is if they focus on a ship and they're closing to killing it, then you can bait them into going after that ship, and then you break it away, and you make a really far away move, and you put evade on it, and you just totally go in like the opposite direction, just to get them to chase after it. And now, you know, he's coming after this guy, and now the rest of them get him because you're trying to finish off. So yes, focus fire, but don't focus fire blindly to your doom. You got to be safe about it. Normally, I would focus fire on what is the largest threat to your build. What do you feel like is going to kill you? That's what you want to go after first. In tournaments, definitely don't make this mistake. Go after the ship with the most points and give it everything you got and destroy it. And if you're in it, and then you can push, and then you can slow down the time at the end, and you can go for the win because they've just lost their strongest ship. So obviously this build, it's the Decimator, so you're going after him. Forget the TIE fighters. You know, they're not that many points. If you spend all your time going after them, he'll still be alive, and you'll end up getting this guy taken out because you've let the game go too long, and you know, you just be left with this guy, and he's less points, and then you're screwed. So definitely make sure what you're focusing on you do. All right, well, I hope this was helpful or anything. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to see next, let me know. I'm going to be doing the E-Wing in the next video, and then on to the other ships that I think are best in the meta right now. So thanks, and fly casual.